I'll just repeat. I welcome the second session speaker, Mr. S. Ramesh Kumar, scientist from DMRL, Hyderabad, to share his vast experience on metal 3D printing. Is heading a center on metal 3D print DMRL. I thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation to the speaker for the second session, and you have delivered a lecture earlier also in the last year program. I thank you for readily accepting. I request Ms. Sweta to introduce the speaker to the audience, please. Go ahead, please.
Very good afternoon to all. Ramesh Kumar sir obtained his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from CBIT, MTech in design engineering from IIT Delhi. He did fellowship program in gas turbine technology at Defense Institute of Advanced Technologies, Pune, and joined GTRE DRDO as Scientist B in the year 1992. He was involved in structural analysis of aero engine components at GTRE Bangalore. He has extensively used various geometric modeling and finite element analysis softwares and has in-depth knowledge of these applications. Upon transfer from GTRE to Project Office Materials, Hyderabad, he was involved in fatigue and tensile testing of aero engine materials components at Aeronautical Materials Testing Laboratory for creation of technological database on aero engine materials like Ti64, 718 superalloys, etc. In DMRL, he was deputy project leader for the project on development of powder metallurgy, nickel-based superalloys, aero engine discs, through thing. Presently, he is working as scientist F in the field of additive manufacturing, especially metal additive manufacturing of superalloys, stainless steels, and titanium alloys. He is
Water. Hello, Sweta.
Sir, sorry, sir. You muted me, sir, and so, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So presently, sir is working as scientist F in the field of additive manufacturing, especially metal additive manufacturing of superalloys, stainless steels, and titanium alloys. He is the project director for the project on development of metal components using 3D printing technology for defense applications. He has prepared a comprehensive review report on 3D printing of metal components for strategic applications and also a status report on metal 3D printing in DRDO. He has made significant contributions in development and characterization of FGMs using LENS for commercial liner applications in hypersonic vehicle program of DRDO. He has successfully developed components like fuel nozzle and dump mesh, generic components for use in all missiles using powder bed fusion 3D printing technology along with its detailed evaluation. The components had been redesigned on the principles of design for additive manufacturing, and the potential and advantages of 3D printing technology were demonstrated. He was expert member, due diligence committee, and reviewed the project proposal of Wipro Enterprises Private Limited on metal 3D printing for funding under Make in India TAFP program of Ministry of Heavy Industries, Government of India. He is currently pursuing his PhD program on structure property correlation studies of 3D printing of superalloy and titanium alloys. I welcome you, sir, to take over for the presentation.
Thank you, Sweta. I will share the, I'll stop sharing and give the privilege to the speaker to continue the session. Please, 1 minute, sir. You can go ahead, sir. You have given the privilege. You can share.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Shivaram Krishna, for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this Atal AICT program. being conducted by Department of Mechanical Engineering, University of Usmania City. And thank you, Sweta, for giving a brief introduction about me to the audience. I'll go ahead with the sharing of my presentation.
Please go ahead. Are having any videos while sharing, you please take a stick a sound, that sound also system sharing. You'll have at the bottom share screen. So that,
Share screen. Where? Welcome to all the participants who are taking this course, online course on 3D printing being offered by Usmania City as part of Atal AICT program, 3D printing and design. I am going to take this lecture on overview of metal 3D printing using DD and PBF technologies. So I am a scientist F in DMRL and a project director heading one of the project on metal 3D printing, worth about 50 crores being sanctioned by the DRDO. Professor Sivaram Krishna, am I able to audible to all the audience?
yeah, you're audible. You're audible.
Yes.
Clear.
Yeah.
Audience,
So
any problem? You are able to hear now, all of you? Audience?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Please continue.
So this my line of presentation will be, I will introduce what is the necessity of going with the 3D printing. What are the advantages that are part of this one? I'll touch upon the major advantages of the 3D printing. And we'll also see some of the processing map of 3D printing in a couple of slides. What are the important aspects of 3D printing? Then we'll also see the flowchart of 3D printing technical activities, which are being handled by our department. And majorly, we'll see what are the classifications of metal 3D printing, additive manufacturing, of which 3D printing, again, we'll see a little in detail. So basically, at DMRL, we have established a lens facility in the year 2010 that forms under the category of DED. A lot of work has been carried out. And I'll touch upon one of the case study of developmental activity, what we have taken using that facility, which was a unique facility established at that point of time in India. And then we have also carried out other development studies with using the other technology of 3D printing, that is a powder bed fusion. And then we have carried out some of the programs in that using this technology also, using the external facilities available in the country. And I'll briefly touch very detailedly, we'll see what are the case studies, because the reason why I have taken the case studies is it will be much more appealing, and the audience will be able to understand a little depth into the technology when we start dealing with handling the case with any of the case studies. So I have taken about 2 case studies for the powder bed fusion technology, and we'll also see some of the technological challenges in 3D printing, and finally we'll conclude the session. So coming to the introduction, before going to the introduction, let us see actually why the 3D printing is becoming very, very important day by day. Before that, let us see what actually nature characteristics. If you see the nature, everything is perfect in nature. If it is nothing will be there in the nature which is not perfect. Everything, every aspect of nature, earth going around the sun, or any natural things that are happening, or any plants and other things, what God has given to us, and honeybee structures. If you see the designs of different structures being made by the different lives on the earth, everything is perfect. So every process also, if you see, there will be a lot of recycling, and continuously the recycling activity in the nature will be going on, and the nature is very perfect and systematic. And even nature has given many designs as such. If you see number of designs, what we have actually man has taken is also many of them from the nature itself. We see the pump, design of the pump, it is design what God has given in the form of a heart. And if you like that, many examples may be quoted. And solutions many times are very, very simple. We make them very complex. So then there is a lot of difference between normal processing and efficient processing. Any process can be made by different means, but the process which matters most is that efficient one. So that is what we have to always go into. And we should always, for that aspect, we should always aim to be near to the nature. Whatever the process is near to the nature, I can say that that is the process near to the perfection. So with this background, the bottom line I can say is nature is always perfect. Any process near to nature is near to perfection. So 3D printing is one process or one that technology is near to nature. That is the reason why 3D printing is gaining prominence day by day. And if you see last at least a decade on also, the development of this technology is leaps and bounds. And why it is, I'm telling you why I'm quoting 3D printing as near to nature is there are some reasons for that. Let us see some of the characteristics of the nature. If we see the assembly, all man-made systems, all man-made systems are assembly of individual parts of the system for the system to work. So if you see any man-made system like car, it is an assembly of number of thousands of components. And if you have a simple chair also, it is an assembly of so many things. But if you see the nature, then we will not see any assembly. It is unified. It is unified in nature. Any complex, even rockets are what we are sending into space, they are all assemblies of number of components. Whereas the nature, we won't see anything of this nature. So then let us go about the wastage what we see. The nature, if you see the nature, there is no wastage. Everything, almost everything will be recycled. And whereas in the assembly of components, we will take the bulk component and start removing the material, that is a subtraction, manufacturing what we will carry out. And all manufacturing of components by the human consists of the waste. And there is also one of the, if you take a specific case of aerospace sector, the buy to fly ratio in some cases is as high as 100 or 20. That means if 100 kg of input feedstock or material is taken for the panel component, we'll get only a 5 kg of component at the end. That means the 95% of the wastage will be there. And we'll see another, we will see, let us see. I request the audience to unmute, mute themselves so that there will not be any disturbance.
You can mute, sir. I wait, sir, 1 minute. I'll reclaim and mute him.
Yeah. Can I start?
I'll again.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. You can start. You can start.
Yeah, because there was some disturbance of the moving of. So thank you. This is another characteristics of the nature where we hardly see any wastage. Whereas the man-made structures and man-made manufacturing of any component, there will be a lot of wastage. And a specific case I have taken where in the aerospace sector, buy to fly ratio in some cases is as high as 20. That means about 100 kgs of input feedstock material. If you take for manufacturing of any component, finally we end up with only 5 kg of useful component from that. That means about 95 kgs of the material will be going in the form of wastage. That means taking into consideration the cost of the material in this high technology sector, that will be a huge cost towards the final component what we're going to get from this manufacturing. And again, if you see the manufacturing, the nature manufactures everything by process, additive process. That means that if you see any living thing on this earth will have a multi-material. It is not only one material, and it will be multi-locational. and multi-directional different properties will be there and multi-layered. And if you say again, there will not be any assembly, everything will be unified. Also in many of the cases, nature also makes rebates on its own, whereas the manufacturers which have been carried out by the human are part of subtractive processes where the material will be removed to create the part and lot of material wastage in making the part. And finally, we have to assemble the parts to make the final system. So this.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, now
sir.
it's fine.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm.
Okay, na chudandi.
Yes. If am I audible?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Yes. Okay.
Conversation.
Then I would like to. But still, I'm listening some of the comments.
I told him, but he is not muting.
Voice loud. Yeah, unmute ki mute ki na ardham kaale. Okay. Mute to unmute adu.
Sir, continue, sir. Continue. Sorry for the disturbance.
Yeah. Okay. So then in this slide, I would like to reiterate that one should always approach any problem with open-minded thinking, without any boundaries, without any restrictions, and without any inhibition, no preconceived thoughts. So the nature has shown us that everything in the nature is perfect, and every process and activity in nature is perfect. Solutions are many times simple, and we always should aim towards the efficient processing rather than only doing the processing in the normal routine manner. And always any process what we are going to adopt, being in manufacturing or being in any area, if we are near to nature, then we are near to perfection. That is always we have to aim for. So this in respect of this in respect of 3D printing has happened in the year 1987, where the sign of manufacturing from minus to plus, that means subtraction to additive, has dominated, has come into force. Earlier to that one, the manufacture was completely dominated by the subtractive machining, and with the advent of manufacturing using the additive process by 3D systems, the manufacturing sign has changed from subtractive to additive. And we will be always listening to a number of terminologies of 3D printing, additive manufacturing, rapid prototyping. A number of terminologies are coming to scene. And many of the times people always will get confused. I thought I'll briefly give a detailed explanation of this 3D of these terminologies so that for the benefit of the audience. Maybe many of you may be aware, but still for the benefit of others who are coming to this course for the first time will be useful for their coming this one. And 3D printing and additive manufacturing, these are two terminologies, are synonyms for the same process. Both the terms refers to the process of building or joining materials layer by layer from a CAD file. And 3D printing and additive manufacturing can be used regardless of the type of material that we are going to use. Either it can be plastic or rubber or metal. Anything which is being manufactured in the layer by layer format are termed as a 3D printing or additive manufacturing. People generally who work in additive, industrial or manufacturing areas prefer to use the word additive manufacturing since it sounds more formal, whereas the media and hobbyists prefer to term this technology as 3D printing. It has been more ever since inexpensive desktop printers became popular. This term of 3D printing has come in a wider manner. But if we see the standards of ISO and ASTM 52990, it terms this technology as additive manufacturing. So in technical terms, it is called as additive manufacturing. Then what is the difference between rapid prototyping? Actually, if rapid prototyping is a group of techniques, actually, where we can use any technique to fabricate the prototypes at a faster pace for different purposes. So in the rapid prototyping, 3D printing or additive manufacturing is one of the technology, and the rapid prototype product is the end results. So rapid prototyping generally uses number of ways: additive manufacturing, 3D printing, or high-speed machines, high-speed CNC machines. But majority of the rapid prototyping in the present day circumstances are being manufactured, are being manufactured by additive manufacturing or 3D printing. So people are also referring rapid prototyping as 3D printing or additive manufacturing term like this. So in this slide, let me touch upon the various advantages that 3D printing or additive manufacturing is giving. If you see 3D printing, we can realize very, very complex components which are otherwise are not feasible in the current manufacturing of the conventional manufacturing processes that are available in the traditional technologies. And with the 3D printing only, it's possible to realize very, very complex designs. And it is also possible to have multiple designs and prototypes. If you see the normal traditional manufacturing, the design has to, if a single design has to go through the stage of different proving its design, I think it has to, a lot of tools have to be made and designs have to be made, and it's a very, very costly process. But whereas in the 3D printing, it is possible to freeze the number of design in the initial itself, and all the designs can be taken or 3D printed in the first stage itself. Then they can go simultaneously for the design validation things and to choose the design which is more appropriate for our requirements. And it's also possible 3D printing in the initial stages has mainly contributed for the product visualization, because earlier in the beginning stages of 3D printing, mainly it was being made using the polymers and the plastics whereas the main purpose of 3D printing in those stages was to visualize the product, to understand how the end product will be likely will be visualized and what are the features that is going to have. That was one of the major advantage of the 3D printing. And as I mentioned earlier, in this, because it is that in the 3D printing, wherever the material is required, as per the CAD file of that component, there only the material will be melted or fused, so that in the layer wise, the component will be fit. And all the material which is not fused or not used, then it can be recycled and used again and again to certain number of stages. And again, there will be a lot of reduction in the retail, because if you see the normal manufacturing process, there may be a requirement of tools and dies or specific that component, and which they themselves will take number of huge amount of time. Whereas because this is a 3D printing is a process where we don't need any specialized tools or dies, and that is a free form fabrication, then that results in a lot of reduction in the lead time. Where if the culture process in some of the cases where the component visualization or the prototype visualization used to take months, this can be realized in weeks. So again, there will be process. What are the designs that we are going to make in the traditional manufacturing processes? Because of the restrictions in the conventional manufacturing methodologies, there is a keeping those limitations of the manufacturing. Always there is a possibility of over design of the component. Whereas in this, the design of the component can be made as per the requirements of the design itself, without any restrictions on the manufacturing constraints, because that is the reason there is a lot of
వైఫై ఉంటుంది కదా, స్విచ్ ఆన్ చేస్తే దీనికి దానికి పేర్ చేస్తాం. మరి కాల్స్ అన్ని మనకు దీనిలో నేను పడతాయి. అది జోలో పెట్టుకొని మీరు అడంగా పెట్టుకుని నేను ఇదంతా తిరుగుతుంటాను చేసుకోవచ్చు. బట్ నాకు డిస్కనెక్ట్ చేయాలి. ఇప్పుడు ఒకటే కనెక్ట్ ఉంటుంది. 20 minutes చేస్తే 10 hours వస్తుంది సార్. ఒక హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్ రోజు హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్ పెడితే చాలు, డే అంత వస్తుంది మనకు.
ప్రొఫెసర్ శ్రీరామకృష్ణ, ప్రొఫెసర్ శ్వేత,
Sir, just a second, sir. I'm calling, sir.
వాడు ఫ్లిప్కార్ట్ లో ఆఫర్ పెట్టింది సార్. 450 400 ఉంది. యాక్చువల్ 890 ఎంతో ఉండే. కొంచెం మంచిది తీసుకుందామని అంటే మాక్సిమం 1000 లోపలనే. బోర్డు మంచిదే సార్. ఇది తీసుకున్న 890 ఏమో పడ్డది.
Sorry for the disturbance, sir. Sir is about to do the.
No problem. I'll just wait. I'll wait.
I request, sir, 1 minute, sir, 1 minute. I request Mr. to please mute. Sir, మీ చేతిలో ఉంటుంది సార్, అది మ్యూట్. ఒకసారి మీ దగ్గర I reclaimed your thing, sir. Who is this number? Mute all.
It's
No.
Neeru, sir. Yeah, yes, sir. Right.
Which one? This one? Huh? Neeru.
Sir.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry.
You please maintain decorum, sir. How many times we have to tell you? Please mute yourself when the speaker is delivering the lecture, please. Sir, you can continue. Sir. I will just.
Yeah, this happens because of these are the technology limitations. So we have to be with this.
I will
And,
make you the host again, sir.
Okay.
Please continue. Please continue.
Can I continue? Yeah.
Please.
So I'm talking about the advantages of metal 3D printing, why this is gaining a prominence day by day. So I have spoken about the weight reduction, what we are going to attain, because the designs of the components, always the designers used to keep in the conventional manufacturing methodology the manufacturing limitations, which many times there is a need for them to go with the over design of the components. Whereas in the 3D printing, again, it is designed for fabrication or designed for manufacturing methodology or philosophy will come into picture, where actual design will be only to the requirements. That itself will result in a substantial weight reduction of these components. And it is also possible because nature has given number of designs, or the bionic designs, a different type of designs is possible. All those designs which were earlier not possible in the conventional methodologies can be taken up and can be realized using these 3D printing technologies. And as I mentioned, this is one of the classical example which will be quoted number of times, the LEAP engine fuel nozzle, which was a component of 20 different parts as made into one, and there was a weight nearly about 14 welds have been avoided, and if you see the weight, it has been reduced by 25%. And finally, this component, with all these features, with all these advantages, has also resulted in the 5 times more efficient in performance. So such type of possibilities are can be made realized using the additive manufacturing methodologies. And here I would like to share one of the video with the audience. You can see this is the video from Altair. This is the original one component. Is not going to the details of the component. This component has been replaced using this one, and again the topology has been optimized as per the requirements of the load. And if you see, this is what is actually required for the component to meet the loads and constraints or the performance of the component. This is a topology optimized component. If I'll come here. Yeah, I'll come here. You can see this is the component. Earlier component was having the complete continuous structure, whereas when we topology optimize, is optimized, it has been reduced into a normal structure wherever the loads are required. That has been made. And if you see the weight, the mass of the component has been reduced by 2 times, and also the strength, the stiffness of the component with this new design has been increased by 2 times. That means the 400% of advantages are there. But when this topology optimized component is available in the form of design, this component is not possible using the conventional methodologies to manufacture. These type of components can be made only using the 3D printing components. Such type of advantages are possible only with the 3D printing of technologies. Continue. This slide gives a very glimpse of the type of components that are being made across the world. This is a standard GE LEAP engine fuel nozzle, and it is possible to make the titanium alloy aerospace blades for gas turbine engines or aero engines, and a number of other parts of casings and the bladed discs of these components are available or possible using these technologies, and has been demonstrated. And this is the titanium propulsion tank also been demonstrated by Lockheed Martin using one of the technology, that is the EBAM technology of 3D printing. And even bigger large size parts also are possible using this. I'm in a meeting, I'll call you back. Yeah. And even the large size parts also are possible using these 3D print technologies of this nature. So those are related to the advantages or benefits what we are going to attain. Just excuse me 1 second. Hello, I'm in a meeting. Meeting, no, I'll call you back after 1 hour. So coming to a standard 3D printing process, this is a process of building parts layer by layer virtually of any shape from a digital model. And as I mentioned, it has changed the traditional philosophy of design for manufacturing because of the constraints of the conventional manufacturing methodologies. Now the philosophy has changed it to, with the advent of 3D printing, it has changed it to manufacture for design. In general terminologies, there was always a belief that it is only a simple process of submission of the CAD model to a 3D printing equipment, you will get the final component. So if you see the perceived process flow of 3D printing, people generally believe that 3D printing is only some part design of the component as per our requirements. And once the CAD model has been made, it will be submitted to the 3D printing equipment where the part deposition takes place and testing of the part. Whereas it is, if you see, the actual process of 3D printing is much, very, very complex. It consists of 3 different processes, stages of processing, that is pre-processing, processing, and post-processing. In the pre-processing stage, the knowledge, the part design on the principle which has been made on the principles of DFM and the CAD model, and how the supports have to be prepared, whereas that is all required for the 3D printing of the component. This is a part of the pre-processing aspect of the 3D printing. The processing involves the actual 3D printing of the process or the component after finalization of all the initial requirements that have been carried out, and what are the machine parameters that have to be adopted, because every different material will have a different type of intrinsic parameters or intrinsic features of that one. All those things have to be taken care in the beginning before attempting the part itself. So those parameters or the optimized parameters have to be developed for each and every material, and then the actual part deposition will be taken care, and then the powder, additional powder what has been made, what has been used in the process will be removed for obtaining the part. In the post-processing, again, the as deposited component may not be is suitable directly for the application. In many of the cases, it has to be again go through the stress relieving treatment, because lot of residual stresses will be formed due to the very high. I'm in a meeting. Yeah, tell me. I'll call you back after half an hour. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Then if you see the post-processing, there will be a requirement of a stress relief because of the very high temperatures that are involved, and then again, to improve the properties of that component, we may even adopt to the heat treatment process and also heating process, where the porous, because many the additive manufacturing components, there is also a certain amount of porosity is always inbuilt in the process. Those can be closed using the process, very high technology process like hipping, and if necessary, there is a requirement of final machining of the component has to be carried out. And many of the times, the surface finish of the component, what we attain in the 3D printing may not be up to the requirements. So we have to adopt to different techniques of us improving the surface finish, then inspection, and also there will be a requirement of being a new technology. A full-fledged evaluation of testing of these components are required to finally release for actual applications. So the normal process of the generally perceived process of 3D printing is having a lot of other processes which are part of that one, have to be taken care by the persons who are going to use this technology for their applications in a detailed manner. And if I see the processing map for additive manufacturing, and this is the additive manufacturing and processing map, there will be a lot of properties, a lot of things we have to take care, like software, scan strategy, what is the hardware we are going to use, what is the feedstock quality, and what is the porosity we are going to get. If in the pre-processing stage, In the pre-processing stage, the knowledge of the feedstock or powder material is very important. Unless we have the grip on these powder metallurgy processes, we may finally end up with the porosity, and which may give a failed builds may be result. And in the processing stage, the laser metal interaction will have a very dominant effect on the process of solidification, cooling of molten alloy, material chemistry, multiple geometry. These processes will be directly responsible for formation of different phases or grain size, orientation, etc., which will dictate the final properties obtained on the component, or they may the defects on the component. So even in post-processing, thermal processing, in the processing, the thermal processing like heat treatment, dipping are all very important. So one has to take care of these aspects whenever any attempt towards metal 3D printing, especially I'm talking about the metal 3D printing aspects, so that you will be able to get the component with the required property and required features and geometry without any problems of porosity or other defects in the component. So metal 3D printing, if you see, it is not just a printing process, it is a conglomeration of metallurgical and mechanical engineering. Independently, either of these disciplines will not be able to reach the final goal. The both mechanical and metallurgical inner aspects of the 3D printing material behavior, metals in respect of metals, has to be understood in detail, so that the components will be able to be obtained with proper properties at the end of this process. So again, in this, the 3 P's are very important, as I mentioned. So in the pre-processing, the identification or individual part or component, which is identification of the component itself is very, very important, because we have to see that component which is very difficult to manufacture as an independent part due to complexity or high material or manufacturing costs involved, or we should choose a component which is very complex to assemble, and the individual parts which are involving welding, these are all prominent for failure, reasons for failure of the components. So wherever the components are having such type of features or such type of processes, those components have to be selected. It is not that every component is not have to be selected for this process, because the traditional manufacturing technology also will have its own say, and when the parts are being manufactured in bulk, still the traditional manufacturing will have a upper say, because of the commercial aspects will come into picture. So the identification of the component, which component has to be identified, has to be very clearly understood, and those complex components also only have to be considered for 3D printing. And the second aspect is the redesign of the component. Again, the parts what we have been selecting are all designed based on the principles of traditional manufacturing, design principles, which many of the times will be over-designed. So now, when the component is being adopted for the additive manufacturing, we have to relook into the redesign of the component, so that we can reduce the number of materials or the assembly or the number of parts to finally improve the weight reduction and to improve the product performance. Then also we can incorporate any additional design features to improve the efficiency. This is one redesigning aspect of any component, if possible, has to be taken care in the pre-processing of the component that has been taken up for the additive manufacturing. Then after the component has been redesigned, then the aspect comes the CAD model preparation, prepare the CAD model, the component, and what are the support structures have to be provided, and what is the orientation of the geometry, which will give the very good output in the form of the metal deposition, has to be considered. Then comes the actual 3D printing. Then in this, the identification of the process parameters specific to that material have to be obtained or optimized in advance before taking up the component, and then only the component has to be considered for the 3D printing of deposition. And in the post process, again, the removal of support features itself is one of the important aspects, and what are the post processing activities that have to be made to improve the properties, etc., have to be considered. Then there are these things when you compare with the conventional method or conventional manufacturing processes, there will be a lot of microstructural variations when compared to the wrought or forged alloys. So all those aspects which are now new to the metallurgical engineering have to be considered, and the component has to be very detailedly mechanical testing has to be carried out to assess the properties, and finally the quality of the component has to be assessed before it is released for the actual applications. So if you see the sequence of 3D printing of components, it starts with the original component as designed in the traditional manufacturing. Then we'll go with the generative designs and come to the topology optimized design. And if weight reduction is possible, that we can also do that. The initial analysis of the design, which has been used for the finite element analysis, can be adopted to see whether the component meets the design requirements. Then the simulation of the part will be made, and those parts which can be printed and post-processing, and finally to obtain the physical part. This is the sequence of operations that are generally adopted in the additive manufacturing. This is the flow chart of the 3D printing of technical activities. We can even see which type of technology that has to be adopted, that will speak in the coming slides. Powder bed fusion or 3D printing. Then we can even talk about the structure property correlation studies, and what are the design for additive manufacturing principles that are to be adopted, what are the modeling of 3D printing of components are to be made, and simultaneously we can even look for the studies on the qualification and certification of 3D printing components. That is a major area. Unless these components are qualified or certified for final use, it is not possible to release them for the actual applications. And the delivery of the final components after the qualification or certification of the components has been carried out only can be released for actual applications. So before going ahead, I would like to present in this slide the classification as made by the ISO ASTM 52900. Additive manufacturing processes are divided into 7 different categories. So I will not go through into the other categories of 3D printing. I will be limiting my discussion only to the metal-related 3D printing, where powder bed fusion and directed energy deposition are the 2 major technological processes that are applicable for the metal 3D printing. And if you see the powder bed fusion, there are a number of synonyms for this powder bed fusion. People term it as a DMLS, light metal laser sintering, metal jet fusion, laser fusing, electron beam melting, selective laser melting. All these terminologies are applicable to the powder bed fusion technologies. In this, a layer of powder will be spread over the build platform, and the laser or electron beam fuses the first layer of the model as per the CAD model of that layer. And once that layer is fused, then the next layer of powder will be spread across on the previous layer, and the process will be repeated until the entire model is created. This is a process generally that is termed as a powder bed fusion, and this is called as a powder bed technology, where other technologies, the directed energy deposition, it is also called as powder fed technology, and where the material is deposited from the nozzle. These are the nozzles where the 4 nozzles will be there, into high power laser electron beam that fuses the metal or solid metal of the object. Material can be in the form of powder or even in the form of wire in some of the equipments. And material again is added layer by layer and solidifies to create the final object. So if you see in the powder bed fusion, the components, which type of components that I have taken care is components with highly complex design and fine features can be made up to 300. Now equipments are coming even above 400 mm also is possible with the multiple lasers, and the products which require good surface finish and minimal machining can be 3D printed directly for end-use applications using this technology. And topology optimized designs for weight reduction, including conforming cooling channels or lattice and foam structures can be 3D printed using this technology. And biomedical parts, all the biomedical applications use this powder bed fusion technology for manufacture of bioimplants. And the PBF is a proven technology for industrial production and on-field deployment also. A lot of components are being made using this technology. And there is a requirement of a very high requirement in defense sector for producing components through this technology because of the very complex designs and intricate with complex design features or intricate design features or innovative designs are required. So these are the most appropriate technology to adopt in the defense sector, and very high, essential for development and optimization of process parameters for 3D printing of indigenous development requires. Again, the powder requirements for this technology of powder bed fusion is the material powders that are required as an input feed material is in the range of 10 to 40 microns. This type of powder only can be used for this one. And if you see the equipment cost, it is compared to other DED or EVAM, which is on the lower side, whereas the only disadvantage of this process is it's very, very slow. The speed can be from 10 to 200 grams per hour, whereas the input material cost is very, very high. Typically, if it's a I64 material, it costs about $600, and iron 718 it is $200 per kg. And so this is one of the 3D printed injector which we have used, and we have developed this as a part of one of our project. And these are the orthopedic implants which are being made using this technology. And coming to the another technology of DED, direct energy deposition. Here in this technology, we can use, manufacture the components using 3D printing up to a medium size of 600 mm with relatively not too complex components. Less complex components can be 3D printed, but this technology is having another advantage of developing functionally graded materials. This is only possible with this technology, where you can have different layers of materials of different materials to suit the requirements of our designs. So thus type of functional graded materials can be possible only using this technology. And this technology also can be used for repair of very high value parts, mainly in the aero engines, where the rejections are very, very high and the cost of rejections are very, very high. All these rejected parts can be again repaired or refurbished using these technologies, and a lot of foreign exchange can be saved. And it is also possible using this technology to have some feature additions. This is the only technology is feasible. Powder bed fusion is not possible to have that feature addition. Any feature that has to be added to any existing part, only with this you can go ahead with this 3D printing of using the DED technologies. And also, it is also possible to develop new materials. Now, we need not have to restrict our developments only to the existing materials. It is possible to have newer materials with multi-alloy powders and have different type of properties which are suitable to our requirements. This is possible only with the DED type of 3D printing. And DED facilities now, earlier the facility what we have in DMRL is only 3-axis facilities, where we can only build the components with minimum very simple components, whereas now the facilities or the equipments are coming with the 5-axis features, which are to require that this 5-axis feature will be able to manufacture little complex components that are required for our requirements and essential for development of optimization parameters. Then again, this technology uses the material or input material powder in the range of 40 to 120 microns. This is the input material that is required for this DED technology 3D printing. Then the build process compared to powder bed fusion technology, this build process is very high. We can have the build it depending on the size or type of components. With its orientation, we can have the build process to 50 to 100 grams, 50 to 1000 grams of material can be deposited per hour. And the material when compared to again PBF, it is relatively 1/4 of the cost of that material. So before going ahead, I would like to show one of the video where this is the nozzle, what is being shown here, and where from which the material is coming in the form of powder. A melt bowl will be formed into which the powder will be sent, and the laser will be fusing continuously. And in this, the hatching will be done continuously till that as per the CAD model. And this is one of the aerofoil shaped component that is being manufactured in the 719 alloy in our facility.
Sir, video is not visible, sir.
Oh,
Sir, we are unable to see the video, sir.
earlier video you could be able to see?
No, sir.
No, I think you have to share that, sir. Your video where it is kept in a separate file, sir, or it is embedded in the PPT, sir?
It is a separate file actually.
Separate file means I think you have to stop sharing this one, sir, and share that one.
Okay.
And again, you go to share. Share screen.
I just hold on.
You have that file that you can identify, open it. And you can click on that.
Stop sharing.
No, sharing, you have not done sharing, sir.
Recording progress.
Yeah, it's good. What's the? Yeah.
Oh,
Professor, am I audible now?
you are audible, sir.
I'm going back. I think participants might have seen that direct energy deposition of the material in the layer by layer fashion, and that is how the process is.
Sir, 1 minute.
Yes,
Sir.
Similarly, there is. Similarly, I will talk about the other type of DD technology where wire will be input feedstock material. Using this one, we can go up to the sizes of 1500 mm also. Like mainly it is applicable to the gas bottles, and huge forged components can be made using this technology. And this has been already proven for the propulsion tank gas bottle, where by Lockheed Martin, which has demonstrated the development cost has been reduced by 50%. And the time also has been reduced by 80% when compared to the conventional manufacturing of this component. So it is also suitable for broad range of materials, including refractory materials. So refractory materials it was a little tough in the powder bed fusion, whereas this refractory materials can be easily 3D printed using this direct energy deposition using the wires. So again, if you come to the cost of this component, input feedstock material, it is far cheaper when compared to the powder. And but the disadvantage is the cost of the equipment is too high. I don't know whether I will be able to. How much time is left, or I think we'll go to the actual this one. So I'll not. Yeah.
Sir,
So depending on the
till half an hour, more than half an hour is there, sir.
Okay. So then this is the comparative matrix of these three technologies of powder bed fusion, direct energy deposition with the powder and the wire. And depending on the type of requirement, and depending on the complexity of the component, and depending on the finish of the component, we have to select which type of technology that has to be adopted for our requirements. And it is not a single solution for all type of applications. So it has to be decided based on the application, complexity, shape, and size, and what are the quality requirements. And finally, again, it is cost and time also which matters most. So this is another way of how to get into the 3D printing. I will not touch upon this one. And this is one of the major, very good slide which has been adopted by GE USA. And they have come with a different level of thinking of level 1 and level 2 and level 3. Where level 1, the applied or existing multi-piece part will be with a reduced number of components will be taken up for demonstration or using the 3D printing. The classical example is the lift engine, fuel nozzle. And the level 2 type of thinking, which components that have to be taken, is the system levels, where one module of the component or one module of the total engine will be taken up for 3D printing. Over 100 pieces were consolidated in one of the example of a CT cell combustor, and redesign of these components have given significantly cooler temperature. There's an example of that in applications already been shown. In the design for additive manufacturing philosophy, again, the total engine in this case will be subjected to the design review. Each and every component of that has to be taken care using the 3D design for additive manufacturing principles. And that in one of the example where this type of approach has been made, advanced turboprop engine of GE, where 855 parts were reduced to simple 12 parts. That means 35% of the engine is reduced to only 12 parts. 855 parts have been clubbed together. And this has also resulted in elimination of the number of structural castings, and development cycle also has been reduced by half. So 3D printing, again, it is a fabrication of components along with, it is not only 3D printing, once we 3D print a component, the story is not going to come to an end. The components detailed evaluation is very, very important, and that is which adds to its applications. That is the value addition that has to be made. So now let us come into the actual case studies. This is the equipment or the facility what we have in DMRL. This has been established in the year 2008. This is one of the unique equipment at that point of time available in the country, with the working space of 300 by 300 by 300 that works on the 3D principle, and the power was 1 kilowatt. We were having 2 border delivery systems with 4 nozzles, and again I have mentioned earlier, it was only a simple 3-axis machine where the parts, very simple parts only can be made. The main intention of having these facilities to understand the metallurgical aspects of material in 3D printing, how they are going to behave in 3D printing, and what sort of metallurgical features that are going to get were studied in detail using this equipment. And this is one of the activities we carried out for development of the FGM panels for hypersonic applications. We have developed the know-how for optimization of parameters. That means the material, before taking up for actual deposition, we should be able to understand what is the most optimized parameters. We have adopted the design of experiments approach, so that with the use of only 13 specimens, we could be able to get for the most optimized parameters that are required for this material. So for almost all materials, what we were handling, the optimize the process, the parameters have been developed, and we have also demonstrated the feasibility of making FGMs using very precise control of layer composition in the materials SS316 and 625, and also we have developed for N65YSZ ceramic based FGM panels for combustion liner for high temperature applications in hypersonic vehicle. And also we have established the process modeling techniques for estimation of multiple dimensions, thermal cycles, and hardness distribution length process of one of the material. From this I'll touch 1 or 2 cases in the subsequent slides. And if you see the matrix, this is the matrix what we have generated for 30 different specimens to obtain the optimized parameters. I would like to have your attention for the experiment number 2, where the laser power 300, scan velocity 8, and powder feed rate 21. We have resulted in the porosity of about 0.7%. Whereas if you see for the same laser power, with the different scan velocity and powder feed rate, the porosity was 8%. That means it was only 92% dense. So such type of things are possible. So one has to obtain the optimized parameters before going in with the actual deposition of the component. And we have also evaluated the tensor properties of the deposited materials for 2 different materials, 316 and 65. I've been shown here. They are all near to the wrought and anneal process. Tensor properties of, again, these are the properties which we have obtained on the optimal process parameters. Using these parameters, the deposit samples, they are all at par with that of the wrought and annealized. But we have seen very, very fine cellular structure of deposit, which will compensate for the why without heat treated. That means as deposited itself, we could able to get the properties that are near to the heat treated properties. This has been attributed to the very fine cellular structure what we have got. So this has been compensated for the lack of homogenization treatment and grain defilement during the mechanical working and achieving equivalent properties. And this is the functional grade materials. These are all again a kind of advanced materials whose properties can be tailor-made gradually using the composition and hence microstructure in the thickness direction. So these functional graded materials we have developed for hypersonic applications, and this a little detail in the one of the activity what we have taken up for this FGM component. So here the YZ thermal barrier coatings on nickel-based alloys. Nickel-based alloys where the initial base material is nickel-based, and involving these components were involving very high thermal shocks and high temperature exposure using lens facility. The conventional YZ coating, when it is applied on the normal superalloy, was suffering with the low durability because of the large mismatch of the thermal expansion and of metal and ceramics. Due to this, the coating was failing, and then we have adopted this route of 3D printing or direct energy deposition using this technology. Then gradually the variation of thermal expansion was attained along the thickness using this composition, varying composition of FGM using lens processing. this process has reduced the thermostasis and hence increased the durability of coating. So initially, we have successfully developed the coating for demonstrated for 100 by 100 mm. We have used 2 different bond coats on the substrate of the 625 alloy, and the composition of ceramic has been varied from 25, 50, 75, and 100, so that a gradual variation of thermal coefficient of thermal expansion also has been obtained, and these were subjected to thermal cyclic resistance test and was meeting our requirements. And this is one other work what has been carried out. Let us go further. Yeah, again, using this facility, just I would like to talk a little about the limitations of this facility. We could able to demonstrate only the simple shapes using these components. Complex components cannot be made using this restricted 3-axis limitation. And presently, the machines are available with 5-axis features. And the machine what we have is also not having closed loop process quality controls. And whereas the latest machines are now equipped with this type of features. And this limitation of the size also was one of the problem areas. Now machines are coming with higher build sizes. Yeah. Then we have also used the other technology of photomet fusion. Number of components have been developed using this technology, using the external facilities, where the process of establishing the facilities as part of our project. But nevertheless, we have gone ahead with the available equipment within the country and taken up the development of a number of parts. And I'm going to talk about this one of the case study in detail for the photomet fusion technology. This is the injector component that is being used in Agnify. And if you see in the conventional manufacturing, this is a component which is the assembly of 2 parts. One is the injector, another one is the injector ring in the bottom. And this presently was being made using the complex machining from the cylindrical block using CNC machines. The part 2 is welded. After part 2 is welded to the part 1 by EVW welding, which is a very, very costly process. And the 3 injector holes are made through the EDM process. This is the presently conventional manufacturing methodology that is being adopted. This component has been taken up for 3D printing. And initially, as I mentioned, it is necessary for us to look into the design features of this component, make necessary design modifications to make it suitable for the 3D printing. And in the 3D printing, what we have done is we have assembled the 2 parts made into one. That means we have eliminated the welding aspect of this component and modified the design to completely avoid the substructures. If we see the internal regions where the oxidizer or fuel are will be coming and through, and there will be a manufacturing, as I mentioned, we have to go through the redesign of this component. Assembly of 2 parts has been made into one. And if you see here, the conventional process, there is a initial design is with a rectangular cross section. To manufacture this using 3D printing, it's not possible. We have to provide certain support structures here. But if you provide the support structures there, it is not possible for us to remove after the deposition of the material is completed. Then that is the reason we have adopted a novel design approach where the internal rectangular cross section has been modified to a triangular cross section. By this we have remove the necessity of the requirement of providing the support structures. So by this taking this component to the 3D printing, we have eliminated the complex machining using the CNC machines, and also eliminated the joining of the parts using the EVW welding, and eliminated even the EDM based drilling of these fuel injector holes and oxidizer holes. And we have also made, this is the initial design what we have made, and also made 2 more designs using with the flow and optimized, which we'll be talking in the coming slides. This is the design of the initial version where the fuel will be coming through this channel and the oxidizer will be coming through this channel, which will meet for the further combustion of this part of this fuel. So whereas in the modified version, 2 parts have been made into one, eliminated the necessity of EVW welding, and the internal duct region is modified into triangular cross section to avoid the support structures and make the component suitable for 3D printing. These are the only minimal changes that have been made when compared to the conventional component has been taken up for the 3D printing using the facility available at HAL. And then again, we have taken this deposition using the optimized parameters has been mentioned here. And the layer thickness, what we have adapted for each layer is 40 microns with a hatch width of 0.11. And the inert gas that has been used was argon with 8 liters per minute. And using this facility, this is the component what we have 3D printed. So the story doesn't end there. The story doesn't end there. Just to have the 3D printing component and going for the application is not possible. We have to carry out the detailed evaluation or testing of this fuel jet component to understand whether the component is meeting the mechanical properties, whether the component is meeting the metallurgical properties, and whether properties. And initially we have carried out the chemical analysis of this component, taking the material from this one, and we have seen whether the composition is matching with that of the 718 with the AMS 5662 specifications, and the material is found to be homogeneous, and the elemental composition is found to be within the specification. That is one of the good advantage, good result what we have obtained in respect of the chemical analysis of the component. Then we want to see whether the internal features have been built properly or not. We can't go with the destructive testing of this component, so we have adopted for the X-ray 3D tomography, where the images have been taken up at different layers, and we have seen very distinctly the well-formed main channels and also internal cavity regions, and the component also has been found to be densely built without any major pores. These are the pictures what we have taken from the computer tomography. And then we have taken a small piece. Then we have seen we have carried out we have gone ahead with that further evaluation to understand the metallurgical aspect of this material deposition. Then where we have taken a small piece from the component and seen what sort of microstructures have been obtained on this component, and both the transverse direction and the longitudinal direction. In the transfer direction, we could able to see the scan tracks very clearly, and the melt pools formation also have been very clearly visible in the longitudinal direction, as shown here in each layer. And the presence of subgrain formation and very fine cellular grain structure, which is very common for the 3D printed materials, has also been observed. And we have also seen the columnar grains are being growing in the build direction. In the build direction, it is found that grains are growing in the columnar direction because of the remelting of the previous layer of the material. And we, as per our earlier experience of DD metal 3D printing using the other technology, using the lens facility, the similar structure also has been obtained on 625 and 316 materials in lens deposition. But we have seen certain amounts of porosity, very fine impurities, and very fine porosity has also been observed in the microstructure evaluation, which we have taken up further for the analysis. So then we have gone ahead with the scanning electronic microscope to understand the homogeneity of fine dendrites as well as the impurity particles. And the microstructure has revealed very fine cellulose dendrites, 1 order less than the 718 Li due to the very high solidification rates of 10 to the 5 to 10 to the 6 that is there in this process of 3D printing. And we have also seen the heavy elements are being segregated in the interdendritic region with previous studies due to high solidification rates, which is not generally in the conventional material. This type of segregation was not visible, but we have seen such type of segregation here. Then there are also spherical pores have been formed in the microstructure evaluation, which we could not understand. We thought that these are all entrapped gases. The overall porosity was determined to a bit less than 2. To understand these impurities or what are the observations made, further analysis has been carried out using the EDAX spot analysis to analyze the gray and dark particles. And what we have found in this analysis is the fine spherical particles were identified as alumina and silica particles, which are not present in the 718 alloy. Then we have gone back to the records and seen what may be the reason. So this one of the conclusions that has been made is these might have formed due to the contamination from the previous campaign of 3D printing using powders like aluminum, tin, silica, and magnesium at HL. So it is also very, very important to plan the campaigns in a systematic manner where the one of the material will be the complete cleaning process of the machine will be taken up before taking up the campaign with any other material. So this is one of the aspects everyone has to look into when you are working with on the same machine using the different materials. This type of impurity will be dangerous in respect of the life of the component that is being 3D printed. And a little amount of XRD analysis also has been carried out to understand the strengthening phases. As we are all aware in the 700 alloy, gamma and gamma double prime are the strengthening alloys that will be obtained only after heat treatment of the process. But we could able to get these strengthening alloy phases in as deposited condition. Also, the EPC then. The phase map has in the EPSD characterization, the phase map has revealed that gamma double prime in contrast to the gamma in the red color that has been shown here, and the total volume fraction of about 8% has been obtained in the as deposited condition. Again, this is due to the very fine cellular structure and repeated melting and solidification process. That is the reason the strengthening phases also have been formed in this as deposited condition. And we have further gone ahead with understand the residual stresses because very high temperatures are involved in the deposition of this 3D printing of components. And so these residual stresses have to be relaxed. So to understand what sort of residual stresses have been made, we have adopted to the XRD approach and seen that the residual stresses were of compressive nature in nature as expected in the range of 500 to 600. And the micro hardness and elastic modulus also has been carried out using the instrumented micro hardness tested, and finally we could able to get or see that UTS values are found to be at par with that of the dotted line. These are the various tests what have been carried out on this component. So again, as I mentioned earlier, we have gone ahead with 3D printing of this component in the first stage with only the minimum component modifications, but further design modifications also have been carried out on this using for flow optimization, where the abrupt change of flow paths into different cross-sectional area have been smoothly converted to a continuous change of cross-sectional area. And also we have seen that weight of the component can be reduced using the lattice structures in the zones of non-critical regions. So this is a modified version 1, and in the modified version 2, the internal duct region modified to avoid superstructures, and flow passage has been optimized and redesigned for smooth flow of passage without any abrupt changes in the area. In the design 3, the redesign of the component further has been carried out using the weight reduction has been made through the topology optimization. So these two components also have been taken up for 3D printing, and further work is in progress. And this is the build layout as such, which 3 components we could be able to deposit in the one single deposition itself, and even different number of tensor specimens at different locations on 3 directions also have been made to understand the homogeneity of this deposition in the 3 directions of properties. And all these 3 designs we could be able to realize in one deposition. This is one of the major advantage of 3D printing, where we can realize different design versions in one deposition itself, then study those components for our requirements. And this is the 3D printer of components along with the test planks. These are the test planks again in vertical direction and horizontal direction, and inclined direction at different locations. At different locations, what are the properties? It is a detailed analysis that has been carried out, which is in progress. And this is the actually as deposited fuel. This one. Again, you can see some of the support structures, so the external support structure that have provided to support the some of the regions of the component. And this is a 3D printed after the support structures have been removed and sample structure have been made. Then sample extraction from this also is in progress in DMR. So as a conclusion of this case study 1, the fuel injector component was studied and made necessary modifications to make it suitable for 3D printing. Again, assembly of 2 parts have been made into one. We have eliminated expensive CNC and EBD process. Now this design technique has been adopted to avoid the support structures without affecting the functional performance of the component. And we have deposited successfully using the external facility. And a detailed and extensive testing, which is very important for any 3D printed component, because from a normal naked eye we can see that a component is very built very nicely, but one has to understand the internal features, one has to understand the internal metallurgical features, and also see what sort of strengthening strength of the component is available and what sort of defects are there in the component. Micro level is very much important, and that is the reason we have gone ahead with different types of analysis of 3D tomography, X-ray, XRF testing, and metallurgical microscopy and other tests. So we have seen that the conventional component, which was a 2 kg block, earlier was to be conducted for 400 grams with 80% of wastage. There was no wastage in the process that has been adopted for this component using 3D printing technology. And again, we have obtained 25% rate reduction in modified design version 3. And with this, we have successfully demonstrated the feasibility of relation of fuel injector for missile applications. So in the case to study 2, I will just talk in brief about one other component what we have taken up for a dump mesh for missile applications. This dump mesh is made from the material MDN 250, which is marine steel. And if it's some design features are, it is having numerous pockets of aerodynamically shaped and quite deep to provide a smooth flow of and incur minimum pressure loss. And these are the ambient air enters through this grid structure in a aerodynamic manner for combustion inside the booster. And I'm not going to go into much of the details of this component further into this one. Actually, the method requires presently this component is manufactured by machining from the block, and it requires exhaustive tooling to have these features of the component. It requires exhaustive tooling, and machining time also was very huge and very expensive. CNC machining also is involved with long lead times. So due to these limitations, the rate of production was also very low, and we thought this would be one other component which can be taken up for consideration of 3D printing and gone ahead with the development of this component. So after initial design review, then we have gone ahead that the most appropriate orientation of this component with the minimum support structures has been found using the simulation, and these are the support features that were required, and these are the specimens in different directions also has been considered. And initially, we have not gone ahead with the complete 3D printing of this component. We have gone ahead only with the sectional part of this component to understand how these fedges are being built, how these channels have been built, and what sort of surface finish has been obtained. Whether we could be so we can only this is one again advantage of 3D printing, where we did not have to go ahead with the complete 3D printing of the complete manufacture of the component. We can identify the critical region of the component and understand whether that region or that requirements have been met in only a part of that component can be 3D printed and studied to realize those things. And again, this component also has been subjected to 3D tomography to understand the layer-wise in different layers what sort of features are there. And we have seen that the resolution of 0.3, it has been shown that the component has been very nicely built without any voids or porous structures. And we have again gone ahead with the chemical analysis, which is matching except with that of the titanium, and otherwise it's matching with that of the standard specifications and also the input feedstock material. And when we have gone ahead with the porosity analysis of this specimens which were built along with the component, and this has been carried out at 4 locations. They have showed a similar composition except for high titanium composition. And dark patterns, again, internal layer porosity was observed from radiographs in the inclined and vertical build samples. So this is again inclined and vertical build samples. We could able to see these dark patterns. That has been again feedback has been given to the 3D systems, and 3D systems then after a discussion, and we could able to understand that the problem is related to the entrapped soot or condensate. That means when the 3D printing or deposition of the component has been made, lot of soot and will be generated, which will again, before the next layer has been deposited, that will form onto that one, and which will result in some sort of impurities or non-requirements. Then these measures, we have taken necessary measures to put that into low this one, and this to be able to rectify it in the next this one. And also we have seen the surface finish, that is one of the major requirement of these internal features that has been found to be at different places. We have also carried out at 9 different locations on different sizes, and we made, and surface finish is found to be 3 to 4 mm. By use of post-processing can be techniques, improvement is possible, and controlling the damage. And again, when this dimensional analysis has been carried out, the central region was sagging by certain amount of deviation, and this building the partner with the thicker, then this problem of sagging in the center we could able to rectify or solve in the subsequent depositions by providing a thicker support structures, and also carrying out the stress relief treatment before extraction of the component from the build plate. So these are the 2 additional exercises what we have taken from this analysis of the dimensions, and based on our feedback provided from DMRL, then we could go ahead with the complete dump mesh component along with the tensile components with improved process parameters and design modifications. Then the component was stress relieved and sandblasted to good surface finish, and we could able to realize a very good component which is meeting to the dimension requirements, and also in terms of soundness, that means the porosity also is found to be very, very low. Then again we have gone ahead with the dimensional analysis of the component. You can see that the whole component is within the required dimensional requirements, whereas all other things have come into the support structures. So that problem, building only one single part to eliminate excess formation to condensate. Earlier we have taken 2 parts in the same deposition. In the next stage we have taken only 1 part, and thicker and modified design of supports to prevent sagging of the part at the center have been made. This we could overcome that problem and carried out stress relief treatment before extraction. So the component is now meeting the dimension requirements in full. Again, the chemical analysis has been carried out, which is meeting to the maximum extent, and the radiography again from the next build, the specimens have been subjected to the radiography, which has revealed very good dense material deposition without any internal defects, and the internal porosity was observed to be less than 0.1%. That means 99.9% of dense material deposition has been carried out in this next run. So then after sandblasting, again we have gone ahead to understand the surface finish at each and every channel of this component, and on average we could able to get 6.5 item on the curved side because of the stepped region. And even the component also has been further scanned for the dimensional data using the blue light scanner, and observation has found to be less than 0.2, which meets the requirements of the designer. Dimensional observations in all sections compared with the actual values within the tolerances of mentioned. So to come to the conclusions of this component development of dump mesh, we have studied and made necessary modifications to make it suitable for 3D printing, eliminated expensive tooling and CNC processes, and very, very less wastage. And it has been successfully deposited using the PBF 3D printing facility. And the component has been subject to extensive testing and evaluation as required conditions. And we have realized, demonstrated the feasibility of relation of this component for missile applications. Those are the 2 case studies which I thought the highlight what I want to mention regarding those 2 case studies is 3D printing is not just 3D printing alone. The detailed evaluation of the component is required. So understand the in-depth features or metallurgical features, micro aspects, to see that the material not only in shape and size meets the requirement, but also in terms of metallurgical and metallurgical micro level and mechanical properties are also met as per the requirements of the designer. So if you now in this slide, I would like to just touch upon the technological challenges that are there in the metal 3D printing. So this powder production technology for standard alloys and the new alloys, that means presently almost all the materials that metal powders that are being imported, this technology has to be established within the country. And another process is the process development and standardization. Again, this is a part and matter specific. It is necessary to do the process optimization by parametric studies, and also on which type of machine we are going to take up the 3D printing is also matters. And the post-deposition treatment of these components also is one of the important area one has to work. That means we have to develop alternate methodologies for surface finish of the components, like aggressive flow machining and other machining to improve the surface finish is very much required. And heaping is going to play a wider role. That means high isostatic pressing to even reduce the porosity of the components, porosity obtained due to the additive manufacturing component. That is mainly for the aeronautical applications. Then process modeling of metal 3D printing. Again, before going ahead with the PBF or DED techniques, one should be able to understand in the process modeling stage itself what sort of properties that we are going to attain. So that is one of the challenges one has to work in that. And again, as I mentioned a couple of times, qualification and certification methodologies also is very, very important for defense applications. So presently, all the qualification and certificate methodologies for conventional are not directly applicable. We have to relook into those and add what all that is required in light of the 3D printing of components. Those have to be incorporated and come out with a good knowledge in this area, so that the material components will go for the applications also. And presently only this metal 3D printing of PBF equipment has started in India, but there is also requirement for equipment manufacturing of DED technologies, like DED technologies, both in respect of powders and wires as the input material. So this is one of the area where Indian industry can look into. So finally, I conclude in this my presentation with these small statements. 3D printing technology is advancing at a faster pace, both in the PBF and DED for metals, and has many, many advantages. So again, with our understanding on the lens deposit materials, they are found to be at par with that of the rods, and it is possible to produce parts with the similar strength in 3D print technology as that are the process made by the other technologies, standard manufacturing technologies or traditional manufacturing technologies. We could able to demonstrate FGMs using the DED technology, and a fuel injector and dub niche components using PBF technologies. And also these, again, I reiterate, these components which have been 3D printed have been subjected to extensive testing and evaluation, and we could able to overcome the problems that have been understood in the initial stages of 3D printing. And we have also demonstrated what are the advantages of 3D printing in these couple of exercises. And you can understand worldwide, people are making huge investments, which indirectly shows the future potential. It is going at a very, very fast pace for manufacturing components. And 3D printing is a magnificent and revolutionary technology. The sooner we can integrate it into operations, the sooner the design and manufacturing capabilities and the speed will increase, while production costs also goes down. So with this, I conclude my presentation. If any questions are there, I'm ready to take those. Thank you, Mr. Professor Sivaram Krishna, for giving me an opportunity, and I will hand over this session to you once again.
I request an audience, please interact with the resource person with expertise in metal 3D printing. Any questions you can please ask, please. You can switch on your camera and unmute and ask one after the other, please.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Please introduce yourself and switch on your camera, sir. Ashok, please.
Sir.
You can switch on. You are
Good
not.
afternoon, sir.
Please, Ashok.
I switched on, sir. I think the camera problem.
Oh, you are able to see. Please
Sir,
go forward.
Yeah. Sir, in metal 3D printing, we will be doing a layer-like structure only, sir, like plastic 3D printing. So, strength-wise, is there any difference between solid plate and metal printing? 3D printing and the solid, like a food. Yes, sir.
Sivaram Krishna.
Yeah, sir, please.
The question is, is it similar to that of the
Layer by layer.
Yeah, any 3D printing is a layer by layer. That is standard.
Yeah, that's why is there strength and other parameters, whichever like hardness, strength. Is there any effect compared to 3D printing and other routine manufacturing processes?
Yeah, if you remember when I told that before attempting to the 3D printing of any component, if you are working with a new material, you have to come to the optimized parameter of that material so that you will get the dense depositions.
Yes.
So unless if you remember in one of the slides where the laser power source is 300, but with the change in the scan velocity and the other parameters, we have resulted in the 7% of porosity. In one of the case, 0.7% of porosity. That means 99.3% deposition, dense deposition in one case. With the same power, with the other parameters, we have landed up in a 93% dense deposition. So that much of wide variation will be there. So it is necessary that we have to optimize the parameters where we are getting the dense deposition have to be considered in detail. That's it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Any questions?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Please introduce yourself. You can switch on your camera.
Sir, my name is Dr. Muhammad Abdul Wahid.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, sir, for your beautiful presentation.
Thank you.
Sir, my question is what is the procedure followed for developing processing maps? Is it similar like conventionally what do we follow?
Yeah, processing maps in terms of what actually?
Sir?
Processing map in terms of what? In terms of
Deformation.
Optimize. Yeah. In terms of
deformation, sir. Deformation.
Yeah,
or
that itself is one of the area which is coming up. So it is finally what we have to look into the thermal data of the component, what sort of temperatures that are involved, and what is the material and other things. So it is similar approach, but it has to be again relooked in the aspects of 3D printing. So you can't have the similar type of thermal mapping what has been developed for the conventional process and data, because the temperatures what are involved in this 3D printing are in the ranges of 10 to the power 5. Whereas in the normal this one, it will not be that high. So those aspects have to be put into the thermal mapping, and the same methodology has to be adopted, and new thermal maps have to be developed. Processing maps have to be developed.
Okay, but the criteria are same, sir. Like Prasad criteria, all those criteria will be similar, but
procedure is same. Procedure should be same. The input of the data and some other aspects will come into picture toward the developing of the processing maps.
Okay, sir. Okay. So my next question is, sir, like when compared to powder and wire and arc, which one is economical, sir? From the application point of view.
Yeah.
Economical.
Economical means again, see, if you could able to do your job with the wire will be more economical. But the initial infrastructure will be too huge.
Okay.
If you see a normal PBF based 3D printing equipment will be around 5 to 6 crores, whereas the wire based EBAM will be in the range of 30 to 40 crores.
Okay. So initial investment will be huge when it comes to wire and arc.
Yeah. So that's all.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Right.
Sir, there is another question in the chat box. Mr. Srinivas Balaraj, you want to interact?
Yes, sir. Sir, good evening, sir. Sir, it's a really very nice presentation, sir. Yes. Sir, my question is related to the properties of materials, sir, especially in superalloys. Yeah. So during machining, residual stresses are formed, sir. Yeah. Whereas because of some shear deformation, thermal gradients, some reasons are there. But in 3D printing, there is no such deformation, no thermal gradients is there. How residual stresses are formed, sir, here? Yeah.
See, this is I got your point. Sir. Actually, if you see the 3D printing in the micro level, it is a rapid solidification will be carried out.
Sir.
So the temperature will be as high as 10 to the power 5, and again it will be cooled down at a very rapid rate.
Sir.
Due to those rapid solidification reasons, the residual stresses will be formed, and that we have seen also.
maybe because of rapid cooling, but maybe restricted to only that 4 micron thickness of the powder.
But again, if you go to other things, it will not be restricted to the remelting of this will be there. Every layer, again, to certain extent, will remelt the previous layer also. So that will be carried. That will be accumulated.
Sir, what about the effect of these stresses in practice, sir? Because especially in aerospace applications, combined loading will be there, sir. Have you done any study like this, sir?
No, not yet. Actually, the components what we have taken are not rotating or load intensive applications. This is the initial stages. What we have taken is only non-critical components.
Okay.
So that when we adopt, we are in the process of establishing the facilities. Then those type of components will be taken in subsequent.
Sir, thank you, sir. It's a wonderful presentation, sir. Really, it was very informative. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Balaji, for your patient listening and very interest shown to you towards the session. Thank you for your patient listening. Any more questions, sir? One question posted in the chat box, sir. This question is posted by Mr. Venkat. He says, is it possible to print wear resistance liners? Venkat Reddy. It is by Venkat Reddy, lecturer from head of the Department of Food Technology in Ramantapur. His question is it possible to print wear resistance liners similar to Acro, Hardox, Chromium liners using 3D printing technology?
We have to look into the application. What sort of material is there? And the
application means you may be using it for some bulk solid handling, sir. Like you put a coal on the coal, you hoppers you put, and then in that you get this liners they'll put, sir, along that bulk handling, that hoppers. So when the coal is poured on that one, it will undergo some wear, the hopper. We want to ask whether that wear resistant liners can be printed using 3D printing.
On a different substrate, they want another material to be deposited.
Yeah.
No, what
using Arco, Hardox, Chromium liners, sir. He is specifying the materials like Arco, Hardox, and Chromium liners. Can we print using 3D printer? Is question.
Yeah, the technology is available. We can use. See, it is like a functionally graded material. That means there is a different coating on the substrate material to have that wear resistant type of properties. So that means a different material also has to be printed. It is possible using the DED technology of 3D.
Okay. Any question? I think your question is answered, Venkat Reddy. I think any more questions from the audience? So anyone want to give your feedback on the session? You can give. This 2 minutes as per the Atal norms. Any feedback from the audience? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Please, Ashoka.
Sir, actually, this is yes, sir. It's a very informative session because I already worked with your under your guidance on the plastic 3D printing. Then also we have discussed about metal 3D printing. During that time I had some doubts, and sir has cleared most of my doubts, and it really enjoyed this session with very information. I have learned a lot. Thank you for this informative session, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, especially speakers.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Actually, our intention was that to provide the maximum information so that you will be with full knowledge in the beginning stage itself and take up to the next. Yeah.
So Mr. Ashok is now working in the MGIT, sir, as assistant professor. He done MTech under me project work.
Okay, good.
So if there are no further questions, we'll wind up the session. Sir, there is a lot of feedback that very good information. Please go ahead, please.
Sir, my question is how to change the process parameters like laser intensity and the diameter of the powders, etc. if you are using the material like functionally graded material for different applications.
Again?
Please repeat your question, please.
Sir, if you want to use functionally graded materials or multi-materials, so if we have to use the same intensity of the power, laser power, or we have to change the laser power intensity?
Morning late అయిపోయింది.
Actually, see, different material has to be deposited with the different laser powers. No? So that layer, whichever layer of material is being deposited, that related to that parameter has to be used.
So laser power intensity will be changed for every layer.
No, that is actually that is required. You can't have the same laser for a ceramics and a metal. For example, for the case what we have taken up, but what we have done is in the case we have deposited YSZ on a 625 substrate. That means one of the material we have kept as constant for the conversion process. So on that we have deposited YSZ ceramics. It was only one material what we had deposited, but finally the component was two materials. That's what I meant to say. But if you actually want to deposit three different materials using the additive manufacturing itself, every material will have a different types of process parameters. You have to come to a closer, if you want to use a same or similar parameters, then it should be an optimized for these three materials, or if you two materials, then only it's possible. Otherwise, it is there is a wide variation in the laser power requirements of that material what you are going to use. Then you have to use those power requirements only.
Okay, sir. I hope you have got your answer. Thank you very much for your interest. Sir, on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to thank C.S. Ramesh Garu, scientist F from DMRL, and also program director for the new emerging 3D printing technology. Thank you very much, sir, for your enlightening all of us on the cutthroat technologies of metal 3D printing, and your vast experience in that area has enriched the interaction shown by the participants. It shows the interest that you have created to them in the 2-hour session. Handling 2 hours online is a very difficult task, but you made to 95 participants are continuously listening your lectures for the past 2 hours. This shows how interesting your session is and how more what you call live examples you have given throughout the session. Thank you very much, sir, for your whenever we request you, you are ready to accept an invitation from Osmania, especially. Thank you for your enlightening us. I hope few more sessions we'll have in future also. Thank you very much, sir, for joining.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity. Actually, I was having a little doubt whether I could able to take it for 2 hours.
No, you have taken more than 2 hours, sir. We have all forgotten 2 hours time.
Sir, can I speak, sir?
Dora, who is this?
Dora, yeah, HK Dora, sir. Yeah. Sir, actually, this was a very interesting lecture, sir, and moreover, from a scientist like you, listening is a great pleasure to all of us, and it is a very, very practical as well as combined with the theory. So it has really enlightened us so much today. That's the reason why all the people are continuously sitting and listening to you all the way, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And I hope, as sir was telling, whenever we request you, I think if you come and show some light, throw some light, then our knowledge will be more and more doubled. And
Sure.
we'll be learning so
Definitely.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm leaving.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
I am a professor from Mufkamja Engineering College, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Hyderabad. Yeah.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I request all the participants to stay. There are some instructions to be given. Thank you very much, sir. Ramesh. Thank you, sir.